All right, so in lesson 9-7.2, we are still going to be working with systems of equations, and we're still going to be doing the graphing method. However, today we're going to be working with word problems. So for today's lesson, we're going to have to actually create the equation and then graph it to solve. So here in our situation, it says, the problem says 14 boys and girls are on a soccer team. The number of girls is 2 more than the number of boys. Write a system of equations that represents the number of boys and girls and solve the system of equations by graphing. So it says let x equal the number of boys and y equal the number of girls. So right here it says 14 boys and girls are on a soccer team. So we can write x plus y is equal to 14. So the number of boys plus the number of girls is equal to 14. Then it says the number of girls is, so that's girls is 2 more than the number of boys. So I'm going to say x plus 2, because the word then tells us to flip the order. So I could have said 2 plus x, but then tells us to say x plus 2. Okay, not a big deal here because addition is commutative, but anyways, that's how they wanted us to say it. Now this one is not in slope intercept form, so let's subtract an x from both sides. And then we'll end up with y is equal to negative x plus 14. And this one is already in slope intercept form. So if we go to the next page, let's go ahead and graph these two equations to find out where they meet so we know how many boys and girls are on the team. So let's do this one first. Y equals x plus 2. So I go to my positive 2, and x just means that my slope is 1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Again, I don't really know how far to go, so I'm just going as far as I need. Let's go ahead and get a whole bunch of points in here, so that way we have as much as we think we might need. So we'll draw a line in there as straight as we can. All right, now let's go back to our other equation. We have y equals negative x plus 14. Now, I notice here I don't have plus 14 in this graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug a number in just to kind of get myself on the graph. Hopefully it'll help. So let's say, just because I want to get down to 10, because 10 is on my graph, I'm going to put 4 in there. So negative 4 plus 14 is 10. So that gets me right here. So 4 and 10. I hope that kind of makes sense. Because my y-axis doesn't go up to 14, so I just kind of plugged it in so I can get on my graph. Preferably, you should draw a graph that's big enough for your data. But anyways, this will make do. So let me change color here. So let's go to green. Now this is a negative slope, so it's negative x. We're going to go down 1, right 1. And down 1, right 1, and there we have our overlapping points. So this is our point right here, our solution. So we go through there. Okay. So I see that my x value is 6, and my y value is 8. And so that means I have 6 boys and 8 girls on the team. So as long as I have both of these equations, I can find out how many boys and how many girls are on the soccer team using the graphing method. All right, the next one, it says pets. Faith has 6 pets, all of which are cats and dogs. The number of dogs is 2 less than the number of cats. Write a system of equations that represents the number of cats and dogs. Solve the system by graphing. So a little typo there. Sorry about that. Let x equal the number of cats and y equal the number of dogs. So it says Faith has 6 pets, all of which are cats and dogs. So let me say x plus y equals 6. So that's one of my 2 equations. Then it says the number of dogs is, so dogs is y, so dogs is 2 less than the number of cats. So I'm going to say x minus 2. It looks like 2 minus x, but the word then tells us to flip it. And we do need to follow that order because subtraction is not commutative. Let's get this into slope intercept form. So let's subtract by x on both sides. Let's bring it down. Y equals negative x plus 6. So let's go ahead and graph this one first. Y equals negative x plus 6. We know the graph's going to go down. So we have we actually have the y-intercept on the graph this time, and then we're going to go down 1 over 1 for as far as we need to go. So I'll just go ahead and put a bunch of points on here so we have them. We can draw that line in, try to get it as straight as we can. But it is going down because the slope is negative. Now here it's y equals x minus 2, so we'll go to negative 2 on the y-axis, and then we're going to go up 1 over 1. It's kind of invisible right there. We'll keep going until we meet up with that other line. Okay, that is the point of intersection, so that's our solution. So we'll go like this, and then our answer is going to be 4, 2. That's our solution. Which so our x values here were the cats. So I have 4 cats and 2 dogs for the solution. So again, we needed to write the equation. So we did need 2 equations because if we just had 1 equation, we wouldn't have been able to figure out the point of intersection. So there you go. Movies. 7 adults and children went to the movies. The number of adults was 1 more than the number of children. Write a system of equations that represent the number of adults and children and solve them by graphing. So x is children and y is adults. So let's go ahead. It says 7 adults and children went to the movies. So I have x plus y equals 7. And then the other one says the number of adults was is kind of like is. So adults is y. Y is 1 more than the number of children. So I'm going to say x plus 1. Okay. Now this one over here is in slope-intercept form, but we need to subtract x on both sides on this equation. So I get y equals negative x plus 7. So let's go ahead and graph this one. Y equals negative x plus 7. This graph will go down, so we'll go plus 7 and we'll go negative x. We're just going down 1 over 1 every time. Just like so. Now let's draw our line in. Hopefully we get it as straight as we can. And then the other graph is y equals x plus 1. So let's go to positive 1. It is a positive slope of 1. And there we go. We just found our solution by graphing. So draw our line in. And then our answer is our solution is going to be at 3, 4. And the x value is children. So we have 3 children. And we have 4 adults. So that is how we solve systems of equations from word problems using the graphing method.